What is going on, everyone? Astrologer Eric Rosen here for Viking Rising Astrology. This is for Wednesday, May 15th, 2024. We still got a bunch of bunched up astrology here. The last few signs of the zodiac, well, last one of the zodiac, Pisces, and then, of course, the first two with Aries and Taurus. We do got that moon that's going to be finishing out in Leo today. It's going to go into Virgo. I think emotionally, this can put a little bit of pep in our step. We can start some passion in our day and, get into the analytics of things, maybe try to figure some things out. I don't think it's going to be the easiest. This stellium energy in astrology, which is where you have multiple planets and signs, it's a lot of condensed energy and zones of consciousness, right? Like the zodiac signs deal with zones of consciousness. So if we just like break it down piecewise, you start looking at Aries, where you have Mars, North Node, Chiron, Mercury. Like it's really easy to blow our tops right now and sort of like freak out about maybe everything that it is that we have to do, especially with that moon going into Virgo. Yeah, there's a drive there, but it's not the easiest. I mean, it's on the North Node, so it's like the action never feels like it's enough. It's really hard to be satisfied. That Mercury that is, still here in Aries to start the day, at least, we're going to be finishing the day actually Mercury coming into Taurus. So, I mean, that'll be nice. At least we can ground a little bit more into some of the understanding of like where we're taking things for our next steps. It's almost like I think it'll be good for our minds to maybe catch up to more of, you could say, the embodiment piece with Venus and Taurus, Uranus, Jupiter there, of like trying to understand the electrical current of the big story of where it's going. That sun is at 25 degrees of Taurus, which is actually on my North Node. So it's like, what I'll say about this is like, it's like watch out for as it's crossing over the demon star algol, like, shiny object syndrome for things that actually aren't really good for ourselves. At least we have Jupiter there that's kind of almost like expanding like a good story, but it can expand the good story of like algol. So we have to kind of like watch out and really know our value systems, really know what's at our core. Something that can seem fun and exciting probably isn't. I mean, it's really about towing the line with what it is that you're really focused on building in your life. It's really just the basics. I mean, Saturn is at least there to check us subconsciously in Pisces. Although with Neptune there, it's like, we can almost try to tune the radio antenna to get the answer that we want of our own intuition. And so this brings up false intuition. I would say this is especially watching out for this around all the Libra things with that South Node in Libra, relationships, trying to find some like peaceful escape from things. It's really just more about continuing to do whatever it is that we're doing that has a draw of our talents, of our self-worth, of our abilities. It really comes down to some simple, really just basic things that there's really nothing to search for too far outside of ourselves. We can get lost and try to look too far ahead. It's really just about what's alive inside of you. Start with what the passion is when you're getting up today, and then, you know, make it real, make something real out of it. And with Mars also, starting to approach Chiron, although it's not there yet, it's on that North Node. It's like just a reminder, like your ego's identification of things, it's not going to look the greatest or the best. It's almost like the best is way more in, do you have a good belief system? Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your talents, your self-worth, your creativity to really make things happen? This is not a time to isolate. This is definitely a time to still connect. Uh, it's not a time to fall into negative scarcity beliefs for anything like money, self-worth, creativity, even relationships. We want to be careful to like not withhold our best energies, from people. So what I would really summarize as astrology is like if you're still trying to figure out yourself or like where you're going, you're kind of duping yourself because you're not paying attention to the bridges that are actually built in front of you. And it's making sure that those bridges are figured out, with people, and then you're showing up to your best self and you're thinking, yes, you could say critically, at least to start the day, about the direction that you're going with that and not trying to search for more. And then, if you've satisfied all your basic day-to-day duties and things like that, then, you can start to expand to the next stage of your creative process. But again, it's like, it's a thing where it should fit the value system. It should fit just something natural that you have. It's like I have a closet next to me. It's like, if I had something that I needed, it should be within arm's reach. Like I reach into the closet, I reach for something on my desk. It's not about having to go out and get crazy trying to figure things out. This is a lot of Taurus energy. It's figuring out the very basics. You know, I would say that it's good astrology for having things figured out from within, from the embodiment piece of like knowing your value system. It's like, it's like if you're ever at any point getting lost in the shuffle of your day, just come back to what is that value system that you've been figuring out that you already know, but maybe you just need to practice it better and just be more consistent with it. Taurus understands, it's like it's the bull, it's the cow, like it eats grass. It doesn't like need a steak. Like the bull doesn't eat itself. It's not a cannibal. So this is also a reminder to like not be too hard on ourselves or overly critical, get cannibalistic with our own thoughts, our own belief systems, and to just like, appreciate like what it is that we really have. It's a lot of gratitude, and then that gratitude just feeds more of our light. And it's also knowing too that at any point you can really flip the switch. It's like moon will be in Virgo most of the day. It's like get in the body, like get in the body, move the body, like move energy physically. It's not so much about trying to move energy through the mind, and figure things out way out there, especially with that Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. So I'm gonna pull a card for my Astro deck for today. See what we got. Wow, we got the Sun card. This is the freaking, to me, the most beautiful card of the deck. I mean, this is about shining, being seen. This is about our vitality, right? I mentioned that Sun that's going to be in Taurus on Algol, so it's almost like I feel like we can bring the radiance to maybe where sometimes we undermine our own creativity, our creative process, our joy by, you know, the moment that we have a thought about something that feels kind of like dark, and then we like wander towards that, like Frodo in Lord of the Rings, like getting lured into the pond by some creepy energy. It's like remember what your you could say mission is, like what you're determined to do. Like it's just you just stay on the path already. It's like Frodo knew he needed to throw a ring in a fucking volcano, Mount Doom or whatever the hell it was called. And so, for some people it could be just, what are you focused on right now? It's like, yeah, we've got a healing process to do, but it's mostly around the ego with Chiron and Aries. But we can still create from that. We can still create from our wounded places of like talking about our sensitivities and our vulnerabilities. It's a reminder. I think one of the reviews of Pluto in Aquarius is like, hey, like, the excitement of how you've been connecting with people in the world and social media, and that, like, is it really as exciting as you've made it out to be? Pluto's going to reveal that when it comes back into Capricorn in September into November. So, you know, maybe it's better that we all just sort of look at things and like, what are ways that we can be better communicators about where we're really at with things, and not create false narratives to satisfy our own egos, expectations of where we wish things would go, and actually just come to the honesty. And I think that's really the deepest healing in the subconscious release with the Pisces energy, is just calling it like it is, calling a spade, and that's the creative process, because you're not, again, trying to search outside yourself for some creative element to make your day feel powerful. It's just you're naturally just letting the light source flow within you, and whatever is alive inside of you, you're putting it into whatever it is. Especially I would say today with that moon in Virgo, like a work situation, this brings up job stuff, projects, communication situations with people. And you know I would say that that algal Medusa energy on the sun, would be like the faking it energy, right? Like it's algal. It's like the demon star. It's like comes from the saying like alcohol, algal, like beer, wine, and spirits, like negative energies, negative entities. But people are like, oh no, it's a good time. Like let's go out and drink and have a good time and escape and do drugs and shit. It's like that's the shiny object, and it's like what are people creating if they're doing that? What are people really creating if they're looking forward to happy hour every day? It's like, what are the creative projects? What's the thing that you could actually bring more self-worth, talent, expression to, that is something that you could give to the world to actually inspire it to be a better place, instead of maybe escaping and dulling the pain and the suffering of your journey that maybe actually just needs to be talked about with other people. And believe it or not, that actually is what lights things up, and not in like a terrible, like, you know, fucking tormented poet type way, but a way of like getting clear on like, hey, maybe it's your own self undoing or your own suffering, and get clear on what it is that you're doing, and then you become your own muse and your own source of inspiration. And then it becomes clear on like, okay, maybe you don't need to talk about the negative stuff to people, but like that's what slingshots you into more of a beautiful creative process, instead of like trying to skip to the next step ahead. Because in addressing anything where we're feeling blocked or negative, we're shifting our frequency, we're actually tuning our frequency and not trying to fake the frequency. And that's where the light can pour in much easier as well. So love you all. If you want to get a astrology reading, a deep dive astrology reading to see how this current astrology is impacting you, you can click on that link down below. Also, if you just want a basic natal chart reading to understand what makes you tick, you can also take a look at that with me. Those links will be available down below. Thanks so much for being here. Talk to you later.